Hey guys, back again, and so this is the current state of the application. We can see the posts and we can click them and go to the other page, to the post page. Okay, we're using the ID to get that, but we still need to create the posts. So let's go to code, and inside our service, okay, let me just minimize this. Let's go to the service that is inside services, post service, and let's create a function that is going to take care of creating the post. That is this one, constant create post. Is going to receive a post, and from there we're going to do the next. Okay, I had the same problem with my API. Today is Monday. Okay, you can see here 25th. So I had the same problem once I started to record this. The same IP, I mean not IP, yeah, IP address error. So again, I went to Mongo Atlas and added my current IP. So yeah, just to show you that that error can happen again and can happen to you. So I'm glad that I recorded that. So I will need to do that for the Angular version. This is the React version. I'm recording all the videos, and then I will start with the Angular version. So I will need to tell them also that they need to be aware of that. So let's continue with this. Remember that our post has a title, a content, a cover, and we need to handle the other image, but that will be in the update post. But first we will take care of only the ones I told you before, that is the title, the content, and the cover, that is the actual file. All those are going to come from this post. Okay, so instead of saying post at title, we're going to grab them using this syntax, deconstructing the object itself, and we're going to create form data. No, I added like this, okay, equals to new form data. Remember that we are going to send form data because we are going to send a file. So form data that in order to append something, we need to call the append method the name, that this is the name that node is going to receive. So that's the name, and we need the value. The value is going to be title, and we do the next from data append, again content, and we specify which is going to be the value, so content, and the same for the last one, form data append, and this is the cover, but this is going to have something different, that the cover first one is going to be the file itself, and then we need to specify the file name. So that is how we're going to send that to Node. So I have the API running, so we are going to test this once we finish with the form. Constant options, because we're going to use fetch. I don't see why we need to install something if we already have the tools we require. So let's use them. Method post body from data. And also there will be times when the client asks you asks you to do it with certain API. It could be fetch, it could be Axios, and you will need to do those, okay, in case they don't want to install, or the application is too big and they don't consider any other package to be installed, because it happens, okay, that they can say, you know what, we are going to use this because we are not going to risk to have some other package installed or something like that in bigger applications or medium size applications. So you will need to do it, and you will need to learn how to do it with the tools you already have in the browser, okay. And for this, we're going to say return fetch, because we're going to use fetch as a set, HTTP localhost, that is the API. We're going to communicate with the localhost 4000 API, and the route is create, and we're going to send options. So take a look at the body. Inside options is the form data object, okay, that already has a title, content, and cover. Okay, so let's go to the add post, and just import. Okay, I already have the link and the post service imported. Okay, that's nice. So we need to create the constants that we're going to use. So I'm just going to copy this first tree, because we have done this so many times in the past. So we're going to make this constant title, and the set title, also content, and set content, and cover, and set cover. All those are going to be null in the start, okay. And remember that use state always returns two values, okay. First, the manager of the state and the state itself. So that's why we use this notation here. Now we are going to add two more, because we're going to handle routing and a little loader. So in this case, let me see. Just I'm checking something. View toggle word wrap. Okay, so I can see that because it's a. Okay, the spinner is a thing that is quite big. It's a lot of dips. Okay, so we are not going to use a use effect here, because we only care about sending information. We are not going to handle anything at the start of the at the mounting of the component. So we're going to say constant, and we're going to append, we're going to create the handler of the submit, and we're going to append the service function that we're going to use. But in this case, we need to use event, because we want to avoid the page to refresh when we submit. Event that prevent default. Now set is busy. We're going to set that to true. Let post equals. So this is the post that we're going to send to the name was create post function in the post service. So first we need to give this object the properties that it's going to use. So we're going to say you're going to use title, that is defined in line 7, content, that is defined in line 8, and the cover. But for the cover, we're going to use the first set, or the first value in this array. Now remember, the file list returns an array, and we only want the first one, so that's why we add this 0. That means that we want the first one. Remember that arrays are 0 based, so the values start counting at 0. So we show you this. So let's say console.log post, so we can see that. And yeah, so let's add now the redirection, just to have that in place. Okay, constant redirect equals to route redirect that we have defined on line 12. Now, if redirect is true, then we're going to return the redirect. That I don't have that. Let me take a look. So we need to return this redirect. Let's save that, and this one should come from React Router DOM. So we're using that redirect. Forgot to import that. And now, since we need to handle the loading state and the form, what I'm going to do is to create a few variables, or to be precise, a new variable that is going to be create form. That this form is that is the form that is going to handle the submission of the post to the API. But what I'm going to do is to replace that form when we have performed an action. Okay, so picture this. When the user clicks the submit after filling the information, then we are going to change that form. We're going to hide it so the user cannot access the form again. Okay, you can just hide the submit, but we will replace the entire form, and we will show a spinner or a loader, okay, to tell the user that we are requesting, or we are processing the request. Okay, so it's going to be create form equals, and this is just the basic stuff that you can do. So what I'm going to do is to append this, okay, to copy and paste this. That this is the loader. Okay, you can see that it's a ton of divs, and we wrap that inside a div. So this is a div class name loader container, and we have inside this request is being processed, and the class LDS grid that is going to display a loader. We will see that in a second. So after this, we're going to say else, meaning that the user hasn't performed any action in the form. Then we're going to create the form itself. Create form. Is that correct? Seems like, okay. So we're going to say form on submit equals to, sorry, it's like this, at post, that is the function we created before. Okay, that closes itself, nice. And let's add a paragraph that says create the new post, something like that. And I'm going to add the first one and copy the rest. Label HTML4. So this one is for title, and post title is going to be the label. Let's keep it like that. Now the input that is like this, and it's going to be type text name title ID title. We add it as required, and on change we're going to perform the set of the state using the value of this input. Okay, so we need to handle the event so we can perform the action, the setting of the state. So as you can see, we have this because I enable font ligatures. So in order to do that, you need the font I'm using. Just let me show you. It's on file. Sorry, it's on, well, let me see. Okay, preferences, on file, settings. I'm using Cascadia code, so you can download that from, I think there's a, you just look for Cascadia code, font download and install. You need to come here into a font, okay, text editor font, and add that, select that, or add it. I can't remember if it, okay, I think they changed it, so you will need to add it. And then here it says font ligatures and configure font ligatures, edit in settings JSON, and you need to add this line, editor.font ligatures true, and that is all. You will see this these symbols, okay, and also it works if I say not and not equals, okay, and just like that. So okay, so set title, event at target, that value. So what we're going to do here is on change, we're going to use the event in order to perform the next function. So we're going to pass to this function and say set title. We're going to set the state of the title constant to be the event target value, that is the current value that we have in this input. So I'm going to copy the other one because it's the same, you will see. And also this one, this tutorial is not for pure beginners, so I can skip a few things. So this is let's add it like this. Post content, HTML for content, name content is required. Also the minimum length is 100, okay, and on change, okay, let me see that, the set content of this text area. And let's add the other one. Okay, it deletes that. So you can see this is for the cover. The input type is file required. So let me add an ID here because I think the HTML4 doesn't work if we don't have an ID. Content and ID cover, just like that. Okay, so we also set this as required, and on change we set the cover to the target files because this is a file type. We are going to have this files property, and this files is a file list, is an array, returns a file list object, okay, and it stores an array of the files selected, but in this case we're just going to handle one file. But even though we still need to say we want only that file, okay, so that's what we're doing here. So let's save this, go to the browser, add item, and of course I don't have that, so okay, do I have that in my routes? Where are my routes? Okay, create. So it's using add post. So why is this thing not working? What am I missing? It opens on Edge again. So we are having a path create. So is that the path I'm using? Yeah, path create. Now we have the browser already set, right? Oh yeah, I'm stupid because I did all this and I didn't set that to be or what is going to be rendered here. That's why we can only see at post page. So I was get some kind of stupid error. So we're going to say create post. That is going to be either this or this, the loader or the form itself. So you can see we have that. I had to refresh for some reason, and just let me do something. Yep, it opens correctly. So let's say, okay, let's open first the DevTools and remove that. So we have that, the post content. I think this is not going to let us, but let's see. And let's add this one. And oh, forgot something important, that is the input. So let's add the input submit here. So we actually need a submit button in order to send the submit event. So that should work now. Sorry about that. We add all this. So we add this one and create post. Okay. Now you can see, please, this text should be less than at least 100. So let's say lorem ipsum. Just grab a nice okay, this should be it. Let's paste that and let's create post. Okay, invalid DOM property class. Do you mean class name on line 39 seems? Class name. Okay. So let's take a look again. Create post. Okay, forgot about that. And you can see how this is returning. We have the content, the cover that has this file, because we're only setting the first file to be used. And you can see the name of the file, the size, the type, so you can actually filter using this, and the title. And you will get this request is being processed. But now we're going to send all this as form data to the API that is listening. So let's edit this, and we don't have this, sorry, and let's add it. I'm going to add the, did I add, let me just check to my in my index. Okay, I forgot to add something. That is this page item, page link, that are the actual links inside the pagination div. Okay, so just copy that and okay, add item, we are there. Let's add the all the styles. I will show you where I got the spinner. It's the same page where that I showed you before. So let's add it at the very end. It's a ton of styles, but let me show you that it's CSS loaders. I think it's this one. I can't remember which was the one that I am using. I think it's this one. Yes, ADS grid. So you just need to copy this and then add this into your CSS and copy this and paste it. You need to change this to class name and paste it inside your HTML, your JSX, and that's it. So now let's after that, what I'm going to do, I don't want this to look like this right away, so I'm just going to add some other stylings. I should actually add this at the end of the video, but pagination. So let's add it here from input type submit, and let me look for the other form. Just give me a second. Maybe I should add those just because I don't know where the hell those are. So this is going to only change this. For now I will look for the, because I have a ton of styles. So let's go to what we need to actually do inside the, so let's close this already, and this is the function that we're going to use, and let's close this, that is already done. So we only need to connect the function that that is the create post, I think, inside the service to this component. And in order to do that, we only call the service post service that, you can see we have this create post because we're exporting that. We're exporting the object that contains all the functionality from that file. It's not a class, it's just a file. Post. So we add this post here and we handle the then response. We say console.log. We console.response. We set is busy to false and set redirect to true. So we redirect once we upload the file, and also we need a catch for the error if that happens, and console.log the error so we can see what is going on, and set is busy because even if there is an error, we want to remove that spinner and get the form back into place. So that should be it, and let's test. So let's say second post. Do we have that? No. Let's copy this, paste it, we choose a new file, that is going to be this one, and create post. You can see we got redirected. We have an array of 2. We have those IDs generated by Mongo, and we have the new image in this kind of card shape. Also, I'm not looking if we are returning the correct information. What I mean by that is that if there's an error, we are going to have an error here that is not going to display anything, and it might show us an error in the console, but I'm not worrying about that now. I will show you later how to fix that, maybe in another video. So yeah, you can also use suspense in order to wait for the call, but I have some things that I want to check and to deliver those because are kind of best practices for this. So I don't want you to have a wrong idea of how to perform this kind of actions. So that's why I'm going to add them in another video, maybe just add it to this specific client, or to make a simple client that returns this, because I will have that information in my Mongo Atlas. The API is going to stay here, and I created another API that I'm going to use for Stripe and other things that I'm planning. So I might show that in a couple of weeks more, okay? Maybe before the year ends, just for you to have that, because this is a problem with React, how to handle the responses from the async calls, but I'm not going to use suspense, okay? I'm not going to use that. There's information about that in YouTube, but I think in order to understand what is going on, you should really do it by hand, the raw way, and then after you understand everything, you just move to whatever you want, okay? So this is going to be the end. We can add another one, maybe, why not, to have 3, and let's see if that shows. To add 4, sorry, so let's say post title, third post. So let's paste that. Let's add this one. Create post. You can see that the spinner shows there for a second. We have 3, and let's see if this actually works, because we're going to add a new one. I think I have another one, so let's say fourth for post, and lorem ipsum fourth post. I thought so I have this one, and this is a big one. So okay, this is not showing, so I will need to see what is going on there. But you can see that we are only getting 3, okay? So subscribe, okay, we have the subscriber. Main.js 47, let me see what is that about. Main.js 47, maybe, give me a second. I forgot to add something here, and we created the pagination, but we are not using that, okay? I just realized that. So this should go here, pagination, and we can see we have this 1 and this 2. It should even show, sorry about that, guys, I just didn't realize that I forgot to add the pagination. That should even show us that we only have 1 page, okay? So sorry about that again, but if we go to 2, you can see that we received the other one, and we're going to handle this. I'm just going to copy one little style I have to remove those, because this is an UL. Remember that this is an order list. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it in my index. Where the hell is that? Okay, index CSS. So let's go, maybe, well, maybe here, because this is an UL. This is style none. So you can see we remove that, and we might need to handle the decoration. And you can see what it says down here, localhost and hash pound. Okay, so this is actually, you can see we are storing the inside our local storage the current page. So right now we are not going to show anything here. You saw the preview, but the way we are doing this is that we are storing. Once we click here, we get the second page, and we store that in the local storage. So, and if I go back here, every time I do that, it's going to stay in that page. So maybe okay, I think the color is fine, right? So if I go to 2 and I click this and I go back, because we have the local storage and it's going to look for that, it's going to check every time we change the history, okay, or we go back to the page. It's going to check, okay, do I have the local storage? If it's set to something, then we grab that number and we add it. So we make another request in order to receive the correct information from that page. Okay, so this is making another request to the API. So we have almost, well, we have half of the things. We still need to add the information inside this, but you can see that this is working, and I'm considering the subscribers. 947, I didn't see that, right? 947 on main.js. Okay, because this is a subscription. Let me just do that. And we still got there. Okay. So that is pretty useful. If you reload the page, you will stay there. So this is it for this video. In the next video, we're going to now start with this adding inside this page the post information using the ID. We have done this before, but let's do it again using the API built in with Node. So see you in the next one.